Okay, Assalamualaikum sejahtera. Okay, so today I'm going to give you a lecture about class design part 1. Okay, this is our lecture number 4, and the lesson outcomes would be first, I will explain about the class. Okay, which includes the class properties, class method, and also constructor. Okay, and then how can we copy the object? Okay, and after that, I will go into the explanation about why we need to use this class. Okay, syntax in C++. What's the use? Okay, and obviously it is useful when in C++ because C++ is about object-oriented programming. Okay, which is different to the conventional approach in C, which is about structural programming. Okay, and also we will do some practice about the class design. Okay, and also we will do a summary on the topic. Okay, so first and foremost, what is C++ class or object? Okay, C++ is basically an object-oriented programming, okay, which I will explain later what is the object-oriented programming. Okay, sometimes we just call it OOP, okay. Everything in C++ is associated with classes and object, okay, and the object, it has what we call the attributes or properties and also methods. Sometimes we also call the behavior. Okay, this is just the different terminologies that we use. Okay, so you have here the attributes and method. Okay, for example, in real life, car is an object. Okay, the car is an object. So it, when we try to represent in C++ class or object, okay, in the programming, okay, we have the car here. Okay, and then it has attributes such as weight, okay, and color, a brand, and then the manufacturing year, okay, and also it has method, okay, method. Sometimes we call also behavior of the object, such as the car can drive, okay, can brake, okay, can do a lot of stuff, okay. It's basically it involves the motion or the actions of the object, okay. So attributes and methods are basically variables and functions. Okay, so typically, okay, distribute is the variables here, and the what I call the method. Okay, is the functions. Okay, that comes in the next slide. Okay, but in this example on the right side is all about the attributes of the object or the class. Okay, so a class is a user-defined data type. Okay, user-defined data type that we can use in our program, and it works as an object constructor or a blueprint. Okay, so in to use that, we use a syntax class here. Okay, and then go to public, integer, and so on. This is all the example that I can give you. You can try to rewrite in your IDE. For instance, here I use here Visual Studio. You can download it. Okay, let's try with a new project, and then C++, and then we use a console. Okay, so we go next. Okay, just name, and this is where I want to install my file or my project here. Okay, so for one who familiar with C++, it's quite easier. Maybe you can do it straight away. Okay, so this is we call the window, okay, or the environment, the coding environment or coding window. in Visual Basic when you want to write a code in C++. Okay. And then I want to use a namespace because I don't want to write down this standard because STD is also a class. If you see later, okay. So use namespace STD so that I don't have to write down this anymore. Okay. So the class is basically outside this. I just want to copy paste this coding to make it easier for you. So what you have to do is basically just write down. Okay, so you have to do some modification of it. So this is how it looks like because I just copy paste it, the error during the copy paste, and how it looks like is like this. So we just creating basically we just creating a class, okay, namely car, okay, and then this is the properties, okay, and every class it must end with the semicolon, okay. So that's how basically you create a class, okay. So in class and basically initialize the either the variable either inside or outside, okay. If you go to this example, if I may copy paste all of them, right? You see here, there's a lot of thing next to do. If I may, maybe I have the example written already. I will try to open the project. If I have the example here, maybe here. Right, sorry, this is VB. Okay, sorry, it's the wrong file. Sorry. Let me open a new file. This is a Visual Basic program. C is VB here. Sorry, it's in the wrong folder. If I go to this Visual Studio, C++, right, and then class. Okay, so I open this. I hope it's the right file. Okay, so this is basically how you write down the class, and in public here you can write down the what you call the method, or and then this is the what you call the behavior, but I don't want to touch this. I just want to talk about that. If I have, let's say you have a class, my class here, and then you have another properties, integer string name. This is all the properties, okay. And then you would have the we call it integer my number, okay. So this is how basically you create a class, all right. And then this is the attribute. This is the attribute. I would name this the attributes. Attribute, okay. Sometimes we call also properties, but attribute, method, or function, or behavior, okay. But let's stick to the word, attribute and method, okay. This is function, but this is the attribute, okay. And the way you can use the class is basically you write down first the name of your class here, and then this is the name of your variable, okay. And then the way you want to access it is by use the dot here, okay. So what you have to do is now you have basically create the object here. This is the object. This is the class. Okay. So what you have to do now, let's say if you want to write down, you see that you have the name of like that. Okay, so what it will do now, let's say if I write down see out, okay, and then I say my object basically dot, okay, is coming with the dot, right? And then what you can do next is you say that you want to print out my name, so just dot, and see here it come with the suggestion already. This is what I call the IntelliSense in the Visual Basic. Write down. Okay. So what you will have here. Okay, just let's see here. Here I'm accessing the name here. Okay. So I initialize, okay, the variables of the attribute name here with name called 1. So if I run, see here, it shows you the name of 1. Okay, here is the string 1. Okay, so let's say if you want to, you see here another attribute is without initialization. Okay, so what you can do now, you can say that my object is the name of the object dot my number. Okay, my number, and that equal to 15, 14. Okay, 14. Okay, so and let's say if I write down C out, my op, if I may delete all of this, maybe it's a bit easier for you. Okay, and then we say dot integer, no, sorry, dot my number. Okay, see, we are creating the object of my class here. Okay, and then if we run, sorry, because this the error, because we just delete the declaration of the function here, so I delete everything here, so this is all not needed. Okay, this is, so maybe this is much clearer for you, right? Okay, so what you can run now, you can try to run. Now we can access both. Okay, see, now I just showed you, I have shown you two examples. We first with the initialization, the other one is with the value assignment, okay, outside the class. Okay, but first, the most important thing that you should not forget is to basically to include the semicolon after the class. Okay, that's really important. Okay, so if you want to try, you can try to copy paste this code and try to play around this code. Okay, to get yourself familiar with the C++ object or class. Okay, the second one is the method. Okay, before you have the attributes. Okay, this is the all attribute. The variables inside the class is the attributes. Okay, and then but method is basically the function inside the class. Okay, so like the attribute, okay, you can either basically what we call declare, give a definition of the function inside or outside. Okay, in this example, in this coding, it shows I showed two examples. Okay, one is where the function definition is outside the function, outside the class. You see here, and the other one is inside the class. Okay, I hope you can see the difference between them. Okay, so let's say if we go back to our code here, okay, let's say you want to have just an example, just a function called display a welcome message, sorry, welcome message. Okay, you can definitely show here, write down, if you know, write straight away the definition of the coding. Let's say just one see out, you say welcome to my program. Right, so and then what you can do now here is you want to access this function, you just say see out, and then you say my object, okay, dot, then you say here a welcome message. Okay, don't forget to include this bracket because a function always need a bracket. Okay, so let's try to run this. Is there any error? There's building error. Okay, let's say what's the error say that. Okay, the binary. Okay, the dot here. The operator phonetics right hand of the void the message. Let's see what is caused the error here. Sorry. Okay. Okay, don't need to see out because no need to write down see out because the function itself, because it's function, we my bad, I'm sorry, just like that. Okay, because the print or the display, the print out values here is already here. This here is already inside the function. Okay, so when we run, here you have the welcome to my program. Okay, all right. So this is one method. The other method is when you want to give the definition outside the class. You can say that void welcome message number 2. Okay, just like that, just like that. Okay, to give you a warning. Okay, where the function definition of this function welcome message number 2 is not found. Okay, so you want to give the definition outside. Typically, we give the definition before the main function. You can say that void, and then you write down your class name first, my class, and then with the colon, 2 times colon, and then you say welcome message number 2, follow with bracket, and write down here. Okay, so you can define, you can just write down this, for instance, welcome again. Okay, it's it's a pleasure to have you here. Okay, so and then I just want to add something here. Okay, just put independent. I don't need this, but just for the sake. Okay, so this is the other way, where you want to give the definition of the object. So when you want to call the function, you just call my object dot. Okay, welcome message number 2. Don't forget to put the bracket. Where we run this. Okay, so it shows here. Okay, so some error. I didn't put the T here, so if I modify this a bit, okay, so I put the fact that cursor okay, sorry, /n, okay, my mistake, so /n, new line. Now you see that, but the fact that now you can see that both function now are successfully being called, okay, in the main function. Okay, now you have the second line, okay. All right, so we continue. Let's see what we call the class method, okay. Constructor, okay, constructor function is to initialize object values during creation, okay. Constructor have the same name as the name of the class, okay. So in this example, you have the class name car, okay, and where is the constructor? You see here, this is the constructor, okay. Whereas you see now, we have the same, basically the same name of the class, okay. So the difference between the method, the class method and the class constructor, okay, is that when you basically you create an object, okay, so it will set away, okay, running the function, running the constructor function, okay. Typically it will use for the initialization, okay. So this example is a good example already, a comprehensive example already about what is the what we call the constructor is, okay. So let's go into this code, okay. Let's we call bedah siasat this code, okay. See, this is the constructor, okay. This is the constructor, okay. Constructor basically can have the argument and also without the argument. So it gives you two examples here. One is with the argument, the other one is without the argument, okay. And then it has the attributes car model, car speed, car price, okay. And also if you look here, now we have, before we just have a public, if you remember, okay, we have just have the public. This is what we call the access specifier, okay. That's something I will touch on also later, okay. There are different types, but there are three types, okay. Private, public, and the third one is the protected. But usually we just use a private and public, like this one, okay. I will explain later what it means by private and what it means by the public here, okay. But now let's talk about the constructor function first, okay. You see here these two functions now. One is without the argument, the other one is with the argument, okay. So first is when we call we create that object mycar0, it has no initialization, okay. So because in this car, okay, this function now, this coming with this, it's like the method you can define, okay, but because the constructor is still a function, you can define outside, okay. So when you create this, okay, it will initialize to this value, okay. But then, okay, so but then if you create a constructor function with a variable, you can do like this way, okay, like the one a function you give the value, what you call initialization, okay, and also you give the values to the argument basically, okay. First is a string, zero is a string, then this is the integer, and this is the double car price, okay. The nice thing is about the function is we can overloading the constructor, okay. what it means by the overloading constructor. Okay, you see that here first we have the constructor without any argument. Okay, and the second one is with the argument. Okay, so when you write down my car without the bracket here, okay, so the class when it's being an object when it's being created, dia tak ambil values ni, it didn't take this value. Okay, so is this without the what we call the value initialization. Okay, and the other one, when you put the bracket here, okay, it will basically initialize all these three attributes. Okay, understand? And the third one is depending on how you write, how you create the object. You see here, you can create three objects. All will give you no errors. But if you create an object with an argument, automatically that it will relate your creating the object declaration to the appropriate constructor function. Okay, so automatically when you give three values here, it will basically attach, okay, or call this constructor function. If you give only two up to this point, then it cross the error because the compiler doesn't know how to relate. It's neither the function without initialization because you give the bracket with values. Okay, so dia tak tahu. Okay, it's neither the bracket, the empty bracket, because if you give the empty bracket, if definitely this initialized value, but now you give the value but only two. Okay, but the other constructor function you specify with three argument. Okay, but here when you give two, doesn't know, dia tak tahu, so then it will create the error. Okay, that is what we call the overloading constructor. You can create the function of the same name. Okay, that's a very nice we call properties or nice thing lah about the C++. You can overload the function. Okay, in this case we want to overload the constructor function. Okay, I hope you can understand that. Okay, now we go to the access specifier. Okay, I will go definitely. You have basically three public, private, and protected. Protected is jarang kita pakai lah. Okay, but later when we touch on next week about the second part of the class design, we will learn something what we call the object or the class inheritance. Then we will learn we try to apply the protected, okay, access specifier. Okay, in the class when you specify the function or typically the attributes as private, okay, these members or these attributes you cannot access from outside the class. Okay, that means if I go to the example, if I change in to the private, you will get the problem. Okay, members, my class, my number, at number 11 is inaccessible. Okay, you see here where line number 11, where's line number 11 is here, is inaccessible, is private now. Okay, that's means when you cannot access the value, the members outside the class. Okay, and then the other one, private is not accessible, but public can be accessed. You can access. Okay, this is when typically when you want to protect basically your members, variables or attribute from the outside. Okay, that so that the function, but the private members here can only be used within the function within the class. Okay, so in this example, this car model can be used by the function set car model, set car speed, set car price. All the method, okay, inside the class can use the private members. Okay, I hope you understand. So if I can use this, if I change now I make it this a public member, this function. I do some modification. Okay, so I want to first to print out my name. I just put my name is, and I want to print out the name. Okay, so and for the second message, I want to print out the values here. I put down my number is. Okay, so I don't access this anymore. Okay. So let's say you have you got the 15. Okay, now it doesn't have any error. Okay, so let's try to run. Okay, so now you can use, see now the fact that these members or these attributes are now private, you cannot use outside, but only by the members within or inside the class. Okay, so it's pretty obvious. Okay, that's a difference between private and public members. Okay, so okay, this example, what to show you is the second part. Okay, now we finish with the class object or class attribute, class method, and also the class access specifier. Now we go to the object copy, then object pointer. Okay, like we learned a pointer already in I think last week. Okay, so in this example, when you look for the first, this is two separate coding. Two separate coding. Okay, let's go to the first example. Okay, now you have private members. Okay, and then you have a function set point, and then you have point y, x, and y. Okay, so this is the object, and the object of class point. Okay, so this object. Okay, so now we set y, we've set point 1, 2, and then we just say that y, both are object of the same class. Okay, so that this line means that it copies all the x members to y. Straightforward. Okay, straightforward. And then we just now display A and B. Okay. Okay, in this point. Okay, so we just display the values in the object y. Okay, you can try, to basically to copy and write and paste and this code in your IDE. Okay, I recommend you to start using the Visual Studio. Okay, where you can download the Visual Studio. You go to the Visual Studio. You can download here, and please select the IDE. Okay, when you finish download, okay, so when you click the installer, I want to show you. Okay, I will show you a file about how to install the Visual Studio. So if click modify, okay, click both C++ and .NET. Okay, we'll click both these two and this one and this one. Okay, and then just install while downloading or later if your internet is not fast, you can just download all and then install, or if you have enough or sufficient speed of the internet, you can install while downloading. Okay, and the thing is, you can just download here in this website, which is studio.microsoft.com. Okay, because we will use the graphical user interface in the Visual Basic. Okay, later in the later classes. Okay, continue with our lecture. In the second part, okay, basically, now you have point A, point B is just a normal basic object, but now you have a pointer class or pointer object. You see how the difference in the way you create the object. Okay, likewise, when you create the pointer integer before, or pointer double, pointer character, pointer string in the previous class, now you just you create a pointer class, pointer class here. Okay, and then you initialize the y with the address of x. Okay, you see the difference. This is like you write down just first is point x, and later you have point y. Okay, the difference now is with the point y here. Okay, so now you're passing the address of the pointer x. Okay, now you know already that the class of the object, they have a reserved address or reserved memory. Okay, either virtually or physically. Okay, we will learn about memory just last week. Okay, what it does now is just copy the address of x, and then it copies out. The difference now, when basically the pointer and the basically the you are creating the class pointer, instead of the dot you have to use this this term, okay, slash, and then with this right direction with this display point. Okay, I think this is very straightforward. There's a different. I just write down here. There's a different. Now you have used the dot, but now you have to use this sign when you're creating the pointer class. Okay. Okay, finish with the previous topic. Okay, now I will explain to you now, start now, why we need the class, why we need the object. Okay. First and foremost, in C, when you learn in C, the way you approach when writing the solution or writing the code is basically what we call using the approach or the method that we call the procedural programming, or sometimes we also call the structured programming. Okay, structured. Okay, both are the same term, same thing. Okay. C is designed for procedural programming, whereas the data and procedures are separated. Okay, and these procedures are called function. Okay, you have the global data or global variable. Okay, and everything is being communicated through the main function. Here, this is the main function. Okay, this is the main function. Okay, so every function must basically basically communicate through the main function, either go from the main function or into the main function. Okay, like you see, you have integer main where you have if you remember, you have the void and function 1, and then you declare and void function 2, if you remember, and blah blah blah, and then you have also integer main, right? And here then you call the main function, so the data is basically go back and forth, okay, between this function back and forth, okay, like the way it represent here. Okay, so this is what happened in the structured or procedural programming in C. Okay, the function act on the past data or value or from the address of data. Okay, so you have in C also that we call call by value, if you remember, call by value, and also call by address, or by pointer, or call by address, if if you remember, or call by reference. Okay, but the main thing is to just go back and forth through the main data or main function. Okay, all functions are coordinated, okay, by main function, which start and exit the program. Okay, this is what is happening in the structured programming or procedural programming, typically in the C lah. Okay, because C++ is more related to the object-oriented programming, the other way. Okay, so this is the example of structured or procedural programming, the normal that you learn in C. Yeah. In this technique, we use what we call top-down design. Okay, we separate tasks from high level to smaller tasks. Okay, you have the hierarchy. Okay, like this one, you have main function, then you get radius function. It's all about function. You see here, everything have bracket. That mean the function. And sometimes you got from this function, you have another 3 function. Then you have another function here. And then you have another function here sometime. And here it goes to another function. Okay. So it has like of a hierarchy, but the top one is the main function. So it's top-down approach. Okay. In this example, we want to create a program to calculate the area of a circle. Okay. You see here, everything. The compiler first will look debug. We look for the error, syntax error. When is no syntax error, it goes start to to running from the first line of the main function. Okay, first it goes to the double R, and then you see here now the function get radius being called. Look here, so it goes here and then come back here, and then it calls the function calculate area. Okay, go to this function, come back, and then go to display area, come here, and then come back. Okay, so this is what we call the procedural programming approach. All right. So this is what happened in this example. Okay, in this example, right? What happened basically with the data flow? Okay, of this function that we want to create, which is to calculate the area of the circle. Okay, this is how the data flows. Okay, it goes to the get radius. Okay, first it calls this function, then it calls this function, then it calls this function. So data is now for this function, the data is just coming from the function to the main function. Okay, and then for the calculate area, you pass to function, variable to calculate the area, and also you use a data that coming from global. This is what I call the global variable, like a pi. Okay, pi value is a global value or global variable, but it used by this function calculate area. Now, once finished calculating or processing, then it goes back to the main function and so on. Okay, also for the display area function. Okay, this is what happening in the procedural programming approach. Now, we go to the second approach. Okay, that's very much very closely related, or the essential or for C++, which is what we call the object-oriented programming. Okay, so in this approach, now compared to this, you see this whole data flows. This is what happened in the object-oriented programming. Okay, so you have the main function here, and then you have the object or the class here, the circle. Within this class, you have the attributes. Okay, these attributes is represented by this blue blue color. Okay, and also and then you have also the method. Okay, some of them are private and some of them are public. Okay, we create the class circle. Okay, and it has attributes of data and method, which is the function. Then we control the access of data and function through the public interface. Okay, so the private is not open for public. Okay, only the public members are open to the main function. Okay, in main function there is no data. Okay, in main function this is no data. Okay, this is an object called my cycle. Okay, whereas the data is within this object. Okay, the user does not need to know how the area is calculated. We hide the codes. Okay, even the constant pi is inside the circle class. Okay, then here notice that the calculate area is private. Okay, the function is internal to the object. Okay, so that means this function cannot be called by the main function. Cannot, it's not happening. It's only can be called within by the function inside the class or the object. You see here, this calculate area is only called by this function display area. Okay, this only can be called here by this function within the class. It cannot be called by some from the outside of the class. Okay, that's different. See now, which one is more? I like more this object-oriented approach because it gives you a lot of flexibilities in managing your data. Okay, especially when it comes to the terms of access specifier, private and public. Okay, you let the user know what you want the user to know, and you hide from them if you say that they doesn't need to know. Okay. And this is more or less about side-by-side comparison, okay, between procedural programming with the object-oriented programming. Okay, they're pretty obvious. Okay, now we have all communication is just between the class or object. This is object 1, this is object 2, and this is the object 3. It's just the combination is just between the object. Okay, it's very nice. In the main function, dia tak ada yang coding banyak-banyak macam ni. Okay, it's very straightforward. It's very area. Okay, everything is happening within the class. Okay, and now we try to implement the same program. Okay, to calculate the area of the circle, but now we want to use the object-oriented approach. Okay, you can compare this code side by side. Okay, here, especially you can also use write down this code in C++. Okay, but for C++, we just want to show you the object-oriented. That's the nice thing about C++, is the object-oriented. Okay. Now we go to this example here. Okay, where you say the calculate area is private. Calculate area function is private. Now we see it's in the private section, private member section. Okay, so you have the all the attributes here, constant. You create a constant double. Okay, and then this is where you just create the object. Okay, and then you call the function set radius, call the function display area. Just this, I don't know how many lines, very minimal lines. Okay, observe how simple is the main function now. Okay, no data is passed around because the data is inside the object. The data is only within this object. Okay, you control the data. Okay, basically all of this data of variable or attributes, okay, whatever, is only being manipulated, is only being changed, only being altered, is being processed only within, okay, within the class, within the object. Okay, notice the difference between an object and a class. Okay, a class here is the blueprint for the class. This is all the class. Okay, this is the object. This one word, okay, my cycle, this is the object. So you can see that you can say that the class is the blueprint of the basically of the but sorry, the blueprint, the class circle is the blueprint for the object my circle. Okay. So basically you will learn later more about object-oriented paradigm using class later. Okay. Now we want to practice the class design. Okay. We will basically develop a program that we call to guess a number. Okay. In this program, okay, it generates randomly 4 sequence number out of 8 numbers and store in memory. Okay, so you can have 4 sequence. You can have 1, 2, 7, 9. For instance, now the user have to guess what is the number. Okay. The program analyzes the guess number and save the followings, the correct number and position. Sometimes when people call 8, okay, 9, 6, 2, okay, we can say this is wrong, this is right, but it's the wrong place. Okay, put star, okay, this is wrong, and this is right, but it's the wrong place. So we want to give this indicator to the user. Okay, so they are main position, the correct number, but not correct position, and there are number that are totally wrong. Okay, the program display the result to the console. Okay, if the guess is incorrect, wrong, okay, program allows user to repeat until n times. Okay, we just let's say we just allow the user to go up to 4 times, or we can change that. Okay, later how many times? Okay, either 5 or 4. Let's stick with 4. Okay, if the guess is correct, the program terminates. Okay, how we can basically what strategy, okay, we want to basically to solve this problem. Okay, this is the practice that you should follow. Okay, first we draw the flowchart. Flowchart is when you want to develop to solve a programming problem. Okay, flowchart is really helpful. Okay, sometimes you can just use a rough, okay, drawing of the flowchart problem. Okay. We need to identify the data and the functions of the class. Okay. So now the data is the attributes, and also the function are the method is in the class. Okay. We need to decide whether the data and the function are private or public. Private or public. Okay, for data, we need to decide what is the suitable data type. Okay, either integer, this is a normal thing that you do also in C, either double, array, or vector. Okay, we learned a vector in the previous lecture. Okay, for functions, we need to decide the input and also the return values, or we mean the output, return values, and also the input. We need to decide what's the input, or sometimes maybe there's no input value, okay, and sometimes no return value, but what the function should do. Okay, we need to decide on constructor, getter, and setter of the class interface function. Okay, constructor, getter mean that it gets something from the user, okay, from the main function, and setter, it means it sets something, it alters something. Okay, it does something. Okay, that amend or that something to do with the variables. Okay, and then we code the class. First we code the class, and then we code the main function. Okay, and then we code class implementation. We try, we test, sometime we cry. Maybe there's a lot of errors here. Okay, we debug and we deploy. Okay, so let's start develop the game plan. So this is our example. You can have your own flowchart the way you want, but this is the main point. Okay, so from start, okay, we set trial. Okay, how many trial the user want? Okay, and then we display the welcome message. Okay, we create the game set number 3. Okay, we goes to number 4. Okay, when the max number of try, where okay, it's not the maximum yet. Okay, the user can keep guessing. Okay, keep guessing. We get the user guess, we analyze the user guess, and we also the result. Okay, if basically the number of trial exceeding the maximum number, let's say is we just set as for 4 times only to try guessing. Okay, so we just display the failure message. That means the number of try is exceeded, no more try. Okay, if basically during this process, if the user successfully guess the result, guess the values, these 4 values, okay, 1, 2, 7, 9, before the example I gave just now, we display the success message. You are successful, and then we end the process. If not, we increase the trial. We go to the next try. Okay, let's say we have 4. Now we start we start the try number 1. Doesn't it's not success. Now try number 2, not success. Try number 3, success. Then we go to the end here. Okay, if we go number 3, so also not success. Let's try number 4. Okay, now success in the try number 4. Then we go to success message and go to end. But even if we go to the try number 4, there's still not success. Now the number of try exceeding the maximum number 4, we just go to the no here, and then we go display the failure message. Okay, that is the blueprint of the flow chart of our program. How to execute that? We need to decide what are the data, what are the function. Okay, so you must have all of this function. Okay, set trial, is it display on the user interface? No. Is it public? Yes. Okay, maximum trial is number 10, game set 4. Okay, set basically now we increase by number of trials to 10 trials. Game set mean how many number you want to guess, so we just use 4. Okay, you can guess. Okay, so what data type for number of try? Of course a constant, right? Integer. Okay, try number 1, try number 2 doesn't need to use the floating number. Okay, so the data access now is a private. The user doesn't need to know. Okay, so for display welcome message. Okay, and then it's just a static message. It's just also is a private data and so on. And then we create a game set. Okay, 4 integer number to be basically to be guessed. Okay, by the user. We use the vector. It's also private. Okay, you have the get try. Okay, which try number the user is trying now. Okay, so trial data type integer also private. Okay, get the maximum trial. Okay, what's the maximum number of try? We just selected to be 10. So we create as a constant integer. So the number of maximum try cannot be changed. We just use a constant. Now we get the user guess. The user may guess a 9, okay, 3, 4, 8, for instance. Okay. So this is game set. This is decided by the game set. Okay, and then this is by the user guess. Okay. So we analyze, okay, whether it's matched or not between these two. Okay, whether they are correct with the values and also place or position. There are sometimes the number is correct, but the wrong position is all in the analyze function. Okay, and then we display the guess result. We display to show the user whether they select the correct value and position, or maybe the wrong altogether. Maybe they are correct number but the wrong position. Okay, we display the guess results here. And then we check get success. We check whether the user successfully guess the number or not. Okay. Then we increase the trial. Okay. Every time the user guess wrongly the number, but still not exceeding 10 times try, and then we increase the trial by 1. Okay. Try number 2 now. Try number 3 now. Okay. Here. And then we display the failure if by after 10 times guessing still not correct, then we display the failure message. And then if the user successfully guessing the number, we just display a static message. You say, you are successfully, you are a hero, and so on. Okay. This is all the function and also related data that that is contained within our class. Okay. And then we create the class. Okay. So this is where which one is the private, which one is the public. Okay. This is not all private, but no, there's something wrong here, but you just follow here. Okay. We don't have to name getter and set function to get set. It's just a meaning that is important. Okay. For example, we name the display guess set, but what we mean is we get the results from analysis and display them. Okay. And this is a one private setter function, set function. Okay. Set user guess. Okay. It's inside the get user guess. Okay. So that's what I told you before, that the private function can only by the public members of the same class. Okay, so get user is called now. Where's get user guess? Get user guess here. Now it's being called to the get user guess. Okay, notice that all data are private. This is information hiding concept of object-oriented programming. This is something that is nice about oriented that you hide the data from the interface. Okay. Notice that the plus and minus sign. Okay. Plus minus sign. Plus indicates public, where minus indicate private. Okay. For data, the name comes first before the data type. Okay. For data trial, int. Okay. For function, the function name and the argument come first before the return type. Okay. So the function name, this is the type of the function. So it would be void set user guess. Okay. Remember, designing a class is an iterative process. We may end up adding and removing once we move forward. But now, at least we have the idea how to solve the problem. Okay. And this is all the coding. Okay. That they are needed in that are the one that we initialize we declare in our strategy when in our plan of when we want to create the class. Okay, so I run here. When you run all of this, I write down this class already. So if I may open this project. Guess game. You want to open this. Okay. So how you can create the object class? Okay. Let's say here. I want to give you the example. If I may go to a simple example before. I open back this project. Okay. let's say you want to create an object, okay, outside this, okay. So now you see that the main function is the same file, okay, but you can also create them separately. Okay, what you have to do now, okay, go to this, I don't know, somewhere here, header file or here. Okay, you want to add, go to header file, add class. Okay, add class. Okay, and now you name as my class. See, now you have now the header file and also .cpp. Okay, we call this header file and this is the source code. Okay, the CPP file is the source code. Okay, it says it's public. Okay, we don't need, I will learn. Inline is something that we learn later. What does it mean by inline? Okay, just click OK. Okay, let's say I try to use a small m. Okay, because it detect that my class with the capital M is already here. Okay, and now you see you have my class.h and here you have my class.cpp. Your main function is here. This is your main function. This is your main function. Okay, so if you double click my class.cpp and also my class.h, this is what you get. Okay, now I will show you how you can transfer all the data. Okay, for header file, okay, it's all about the declaration of your variable. Okay, let's say what you should do now is just copy this one till this one. It's Control X, right? So now just write down here. Okay, now what is missing, it shows you the error, right? So what you need to do now, you must include okay, and then IO stream. All right, so should be what's missing here. Okay, now also to include using namespace D. That's all wrong. Okay, now you see that this is all the function, all the declaration of your variable. Okay, and CPP is the definition of your function. Okay, so now if you go here, you can copy this one, right? Control X, and then I go to CPP. See, now it includes automatically the myclass.h. Okay, you go here and then you copy paste here. All right, and then you try to include no, let's say here now. Okay, just choose using namespace. Okay, so because my number is not undefined. Okay, and my class now use a capital small y. Okay, now it's correct, right? Now we can access the my number. No more error. I'm not sure whether we can exclude it because we used them in the header file already. Okay, let's try. And then this is all. And then what you have to do now you must include. Okay. So now you have say my class. Oh no, this is, I think that is for the standard file, so you can write down my class.h. Okay, you have to use the double comma. Okay, so now is the rest you can delete. Okay, now small m. Okay, see how organized is it now? I'm sure you can see you are not using any standard output. You can delete this. I think everything is in the class. Okay, try to run. See, you get the output. So it's successfully running. This is the way where you want to create an additional class, okay, outside the main function. Now see here, the main function is very simple. Okay, so the coding within the main function now is very simple, very minimal. Okay, whereas everything here is within this class and a source code file. Okay, header file. Okay. Okay, that's how you can create the header file and the .cpp file or the source code file. Okay, coming back to the lecture. Okay, this is just want to show you the example of the successfully running guess number game. Okay, so I open the project. I goes to the one I created here. Okay, so here is all the main function, but very minimal. This I delete, it's not needed. Okay, so this is very minimal. Okay, everything inside the header file. You see here, all the function that we set up to we plan to write, and is all the function definition. Okay, so let's run. This is not perfect, yeah. Of course, in terms of the display, you can simplify, or you can make it look it nicer before. And this is why I just guess it. I just make it a bit more nicely lah. Okay, so press enter. Okay, so please try again. There's something error here, so okay, this is there's something error with the function, but the main point now, the user need to guess this four numbers, sorry, 7, 2, 5, and 5. Okay, let's say I guess 5, 6, 2, 1. Okay, now it shows you that the star means that right number but wrong place. While 6 is wrong, correct, sorry, 6 is and 1 is wrong all together. Okay, so I write down again, like I give you 3. Now I try to 5, and then I try to 2. Then I try again number 7. Let's say, okay. Now I have 3 numbers with the wrong place. Let's say I give you 7, okay, 2, okay, 5, sorry, 7, 2, 5, 4. See here, it's all correct. Okay, it's all represented by the sign of this dollar sign. Okay, now I just write down 7, 2, 5, 9. Okay, not wrong. Okay, 7, 2, 5, 7, 2, 5, and let's say 8. Also wrong. 7, 2, 5, 5. See, all correct. Please try again. Success. Okay. Now it's running. Okay. So this is the example of this guess number program or game. Okay. And the summary, what we learn later. Okay. So what I want to highlight in this lecture is programming involves designing and coding. Not only coding, also designing. Okay. We can design program using a structural approach or object-oriented approach. Okay, structural programming is based on top-down design. Okay, whereas OP, object-oriented, is based on class design. Okay, or C++ is a language, one of the language for object-oriented programming. Okay, there are other languages also that can implement object-oriented programming like C#. Okay. C is a language for procedural or structured programming. Okay. In real life, designing a program is an iterative process. Okay, so it will keep one process, one loop. Okay, still find not complete the error. Like the program guess number I demonstrated, it's not yet finished for me. Okay, there's something that I need to modify. Okay, to improve on. Okay, second circle, third circle, and so on. Okay, also designing and implementing a software requires more than one programmer. Okay, let's say this example I do one for myself, also not perfect. Okay, so that's why it's typically a program project is involved, a group of programmers. Okay, so that's all for this week. I hope you understand and enjoy the class. Okay, bye-bye and assalamualaikum.